Stars in Hollywood come and go as frequently as the night in which they are imprisoned changes into day. Another actor cools down with each new hot thing. Kevin Costner was the biggest movie star in 1994, and everyone wanted a piece of him. Beginning with his lead in The Untouchables in 1987, Costner embarked on a nearly 10-year career that saw him dominate the film industry both critically and commercially. Costner became the unflappable face of moral rectitude and integrity, thanks to Bull Durham, Field of Dreams, Dances with Wolves, JFK, and The Bodyguard. He was an unbreakable man who always exuded optimism and sincere honesty. Not surprisingly then, Costner was considered the perfect choice to play Andy Dufresne, the convicted murderer and eventual escapee in the Shawshank Redemption. Andy's embrace of hope amid despair is a fundamental aspect of his personality that frequently places him at philosophical odds with his friend Red, and at psychological odds with the strict prison warden. The Warden views hope as a dangerous weakness that must be eradicated, while Red considers it to be the most dangerous thing a man in Shawshank can possess. Costner was the only one who could bring that kind of unending optimism to the screen. This was the same man who, in Field of Dreams, traveled across the nation and destroyed his own farming operation in order to follow an encouraging voice, who, in JFK, sought the unquestionable truth that the U.S. government was concealing, and who, in The Bodyguard, risked his life to defend Whitney Houston. Costner was the only one who could convey conviction and sincerity. The issue was that Costner had been attempting to get a different film made for the previous 2 years. Waterworld was the title of that film. By the time he was asked to play Andy Dufresne, Waterworld's budget had blown out of proportion. Costner was a producer who frequently took matters into his own hands. Originally a passion project, Waterworld had devolved into a mess, and Costner was largely responsible for it. Despite his interest in the part, Costner was unable to leave Waterworld to work on The Shawshank Redemption. Delaying the latter movie to make room for Costner was not an option because of its own somewhat problematic pre-production history at the time. Even though Costner was the ideal choice, he was ultimately compelled to decline the part of Andy in order to see Waterworld through to its conclusion. Director Frank Darabont and production company Castle Rock chose to go with Tom Cruise instead. Although Cruise was intrigued by the plot and even went to the first table readings with the other actors, he eventually left because of his arguments with Darabont. In the end, the director chose Costner's Bull Durham co-star Tim Robbins. But the film isn't even close to being a major regret for Costner. In addition to recovering Waterworld's enormous $170 million budget, the star made a sizable profit from it. No, the role in Platoon was the film that Costner most regretfully declined. Platoon was the one role that I regret refusing, according to Costner. Vietnam films that depict veterans as wigged-out men bothered my brother Dan, who served in the Marines during that conflict. The fact that he returned, attended college, and now has a family makes him extremely proud. Platoon was right, and he was real. However, my brother was with me when I was conscious.